Hey everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. I'm sure I am. I can't tell you for sure though, because this is Friday when I'm recording this video. This is 10 behind me that's going out for Saturday, which was yesterday. If you're watching this video on Sunday, which you probably are, because it's not due to be uploaded until Sunday. Anyway, the last couple of weeks I have recorded these videos. I've recorded them with a script and I've read off a script that's been on a teleprompter in front of the camera. And I think some of you wanted to know, or assumed even, that I was just riffing. I wasn't. I'd scripted it. I'd carefully thought things out first. And I'd done that because I do have a tendency to ramble, and sometimes I'm not very clear in my thought processes. This week, however, I'm going to try and give you a complete authentic experience. There's no script. This is completely like one take, me just thinking out loud. I know what I want to talk to you about today, and I want to talk to you about charging networks and how we deal with charging networks and how there is a problem in the charging network world. And I just got an email, but I'm going to carry on. Obviously, when it comes to owning an electric car, rapid charging, being able to charge quickly on the road is a very important thing to a prospective electric car customer and to existing electric car customers. Obviously, if you own a certain Tesla brand of cars, you own a Model S, Model X, Model 3, whatever, then you have access to the supercharger network. We all know that. We all know that the supercharger network is reasonably reliable. It's fully integrated into the cars in terms of the system knows if there's a problem with a supercharger and can direct you to a different one. We all know that, okay? But additionally, we all know that not everyone owns a Tesla. I don't own a Tesla. I own a Chevrolet Bolt and a Nissan Leaf. And for me and lots of other people like me, being able to charge on the road is just as important as Tesla's customers view superchargers. And let's also not forget that Tesla customers have CHAdeMO adapters, so they are also using non-Tesla rapid charging stations on a fairly regular basis. But we have a problem nationwide, worldwide, with rapid charging. They're not reliable. With a few exceptions, there are some companies that are doing a really great job keeping their charging stations online, being proactive, repairing them and moving on. But what we're seeing is a lot of new charging station companies coming online, putting up these big sites with lots of charging stations or promising, these incredible charging networks. And they're either falling behind their schedule for installing them, or they're installing them, turning them on, and then there's not the local support for when things go wrong. Now, traditionally, how these charging networks have operated is they put the charging infrastructure in. Either they have their own teams to do it or they contract it out. When the unit comes online, there might be telematics, remote telematics back to the headquarters. But when it comes to repairing them, they will contract out repairs to local repair people. And some companies are better at it than others. If you live in a metro area and there's a charging station goes down, you're more likely to see that repaired fairly quickly. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait until somebody goes past who can repair it. And some charging providers are kind of lax with that. They wait until there's a couple of charging stations in the same area that need to be repaired. Others just hope that somebody repairs it and they'll put a note on their system, and then whenever the engineer's passing, they'll look at it. Others are a little bit more proactive, and when something goes down, they've got someone on call that they can get out within 24 hours and fix. And I think we need to put a bit of pressure on charging companies to be a little bit more open about how they repair their charging stations. We need to encourage them to be more proactive about having redundancy and having a backup plan when things go wrong. Even multi-site charging stations or multi-charging station sites even, like Electrify America, are having problems. I've spoken to people in the last 2 weeks who have tried using Electrify America's brand new high-power charging stations, only to discover that they can't pay for their charging because the credit card readers aren't working or the RFID cards aren't working. They are unable to communicate with their cars, so the charging station says no. Or they're arriving at the units to find that they're broken, they're not powered on, or worse still, there's some kind of error message on the screen. These are brand new charging stations, brand new hardware in any other industry, if we put stuff into the field, if things were put into the field that weren't ready, there would be public outcry. But for charging stations, for some reason, that's okay. And we need to start communicating with charging station manufacturers and going, no, I'm sorry. If your tech isn't up to par, then you shouldn't be putting it in the field. We, electric car drivers, are not beta testers for your hardware and software. And we need to be a little bit more forceful, I think, with charging manufacturers about that. But we also need to be very clear about what we want. Because at the moment, there are so many different service level agreements, there are so many different standards employed by different charging manufacturers, charging station manufacturers, that it's very difficult to have this very simple, understandable way that things must be done. So when something breaks, we know that within this amount of time, this will happen, and in this amount of time, this will happen. So what I'm going to suggest is whenever you sign up to a charging network, ask them, what is your service level agreement? If a unit goes down, how long before it gets fixed? If your charging station goes down, do you have an alternative for me nearby? Will you pay for me to have a tow to the nearest station? Now, I don't think they will. But if you think about it, at the end of the day, it's their responsibility to provide you with a service. If you are paying for a service, as most of us now are, it was different when they were free. When they were free, if they went down, it was a free service. Okay, fair enough. But if you're paying a monthly membership fee or you're paying a sum of money for a service and that service is unreliable, then you need to actually speak out about it. And I don't mean get angry and aggressive online. I mean coordinate with other owners and other people who know how these charging networks have been bothersome. And instead of ranting on Twitter, take a breath, write a letter, an actual letter, and have it delivered to the company. You could even do like a signed for delivery to make sure that they get it. That way, like, emails have a really good habit of disappearing, especially when they're not very nice. So if you write an email of complaint, they don't always seem to get to the person they need to. But if you write a letter, that physical letter arrives, it's more likely to get to the person that you want to talk to about the problem that you want to talk about. Be a pain, but be a polite pain. Don't shout and swear. Don't have a rant on Twitter, because that doesn't do anyone any good. Don't include me on every charging station rant you have. But be very clear with the charging station manufacturers. You're not providing a service. You're not providing a service that is reliable. And you will lose me as a customer. And moreover, the sites where your charging stations are have agreed to let you have a space where you can put your charging station, because you've convinced them that it's a good deal, that they will get extra income from the customers who'd stop by. And if your charging network's not working, if your charging station's broken, then people aren't going to stop. And it's as simple as that. I'd like to know how you would like to focus and deal with these charging station providers, and how you'd like to help them to become better at what they do. How do we communicate that we're frustrated with them without sounding like torch-wielding loons? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Support us using Patreon or the other links below. Buy something from our shop. And I will see you next Sunday for another very relaxed, off-script rant. Keep evolving.